Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Shayne Baligian.
Is up. Glad you can join us. He's Mike. I'm Shayne. Mike, you and I were talking about this during the day. I hate the overstatement, but I'm going to make it anyway. This is one of the most highly anticipated series in a while. I think, good evening to you, Tom. This is a very anticipated series, and I was on with my buddy Jack Ebling in Lansing, Lansing legend Jack Ebling, and he asked me my thoughts on the series, and I said, do you have a coin? If you have a coin, flip the coin. Heads is Oilers, tails is Dallas. And honestly, that's how I feel about this series. And Tom, you're right. We will have Requiem for Maple Leaf in a few minutes. But hey, Mike, long before the game gets started, really and truly one of the most anticipated series in quite some time. I'm serious.
Absolutely. I think I sent you the text that hey, I'm actually excited for this series. I'm building up, and the way I look at it, Shayne, is there is the growing up and the coming of age of a couple players here. Is Jake Oettinger him? He's really took over, outplayed Hellebuyck last series in a tough game 6, so it didn't go to a game 7. And what I'm really more excited about, Shayne, and tell me your thoughts, Connor McDavid has become that player. He has evolved into that player that every superstar has to do to win a Stanley Cup. And he's playing 200 feet, baby.
Mike, he is, and I mean no disrespect to a guy that I know you love in McKinnon. I mean no disrespect to anybody else. I just spit fact. He is the best player in the league right now by a mile. And I don't have any problem saying that. I really don't. No disrespect to anybody. Sid Crosby is still Sid Crosby. Nathan McKinnon is right now today. I think he's the best player in the league, and I don't think it's close.
Yeah, I mean, even that's a big statement. Even saying he's the best player in his team, knowing that the eventual probably MVP this year, Leon Draisaitl, is on the side there, and he just benefits from him. And when you can 1-2 punch McDavid line 1, followed up with Draisaitl line 2, and the secondary scoring that they're getting, but it just all feeds off of because there's no pressure. McDavid is also playing defense. So when we get to the Maple Leafs, they just really have to look and see this evolution, and that's what they've got to get on their team. And they got a bunch of guys that aren't doing that, playing 200 feet.
The thing that jumps out to me in this series, and I hate to be a simpleton, okay? But I really, Mike, honestly, this is how I look at this series, okay? If there's one team that can give the depth edge that Dallas is going to have almost over anybody, it's Edmonton in that speed, okay? Here's the question that I have for this series. Tip of the cap to Stu Skinner. I'm not even being funny, okay? What he did last year was one thing. What he did this year was completely another thing, okay? Lost his job. Pickard got hurt. They had no choice but to go to Skinner, and he looked like Skinner of last year again. If he does that, Edmonton's winning this series, point blank, period, end of story. And I advantage Oettinger all day. But if Skinner can be, I don't want to say match save for save because that would say that he's just as good as Oettinger. If he can keep the Oilers in the games, I think it's advantage Oilers. So as a simpleton, if he can stay just below the level of Oettinger, i.e. play as well as he's been playing, Mike, I like the Oilers' chances a lot in this series.
Yeah, him and the guys in front of him just have to play like they do basically in game 4 through 7. Like I brought up the stat. Skinner's 11-1 in game 4 through 7 over the last couple of years. And if they can do that, they'll be able to match it because Where I see the problem is not in the Oilers defensive zone. It's going to be in Dallas's defensive zone. They play a little bit soft and a little bit off, and I just think Edmonton's going to be too much for them.
You know what's interesting about this, Mike? And by the way, for the record, I think it sounds like you're taking Edmonton. I'm going to take Dallas in 7. I'm going to go Dallas in 7. You know what's interesting about this? And you saw them do this a little bit last year, okay? The people that are hammering on particular players with the Edmonton Oilers, it's almost like they hear this at some point in time during the playoff and just say, yes, I hear what you're saying, and now I'm going to prove you wrong. Last year, Darnell Nurse was awful. Got killed by everybody, rightfully so. And then he got it back. Earlier in the playoff, remember the first round, the Bush bomb was terrible. Evan Bouchard was terrible. And I'm not saying that he's back to, full strength Bush bomb or anything like that. But this is a team the last couple years, and I'll go back to Skinner again. It's almost like when people call them out publicly, it's like the light bulb goes on, and all of a sudden those issues that look to be an alarming trend just magically go away.
Yeah, and when Ekholm goes down, they start talking about the depth on their blue line, right? And Bouchard starts to struggle. They lose those first 2 games. Then all of a sudden, who's this Klingberg?
Yep.
He steps up. And I've got news. It looks like Ekholm's going to be back this series, if not game 1, making them even deeper. But, Sean, you are right. They did it last year. If you remember last year, they were getting killed because they couldn't kill a penalty. All of a sudden, their penalty, you couldn't score a goal on Edmonton.
Yep.
That speaks to the coaching and what's going on in that locker room. But they come out and they answer every question that they have.
I'm gonna put as I put out the thing, Panthers got right. More on that in just a second. But Mike, it sounds to me, again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. We'll get back to some of your comments. You're taking Edmonton in this series. How many games do you think?
I see it in 6. I see them winning it on home ice in game 6.
Okay. I'm going to take Dallas in 7, winning on home ice in 7. I am. That's where I'm. But I'm dead serious. I'm not trying to take the coward's way out. Grab a coin, flip it. Heads is Edmonton and tails is Dallas. If it falls on heads and you say Edmonton, I'll go, okay. Yeah. Like, really, I mean that. I'm serious.
Yeah, and it's not the NHL playoffs if our phone isn't blowing up from our friend Hubie. And he hit me up this morning about who I like. And that was what I said, Sean, was Edmonton, you got to show me that you can beat Bob for Carolina to win. So Edmonton, Florida, we're headed towards a rematch. But I'm not going to be shocked if any other combination of teams ends up in there. All 4 teams are worthy. All 4 teams are special in their own way.
Can I ask you this, though?
Yes.
Hold that thought.
Yes.
Hey, Mike and Sean. Mike, I have a broken knee. Sorry to hear about that again. Eric, Oilers and Stars will be a good series. Hard to pick who will win it. I agree. Dirt for dirt, Oil all the way. Austin said, it's sad the Oilers can only 1-2 punch for one more year. According to the Leafs, according to Leaf fans, McDavid is coming to Maple for Wall and a 7th-round draft choice. Otter should be the Team USA starter over Hellebuck. I agree with that. Klingsberg has gone all Javi Baez on us, and it's not being talked enough. I know. Love Draisaitl, but screw the Canadian teams. Go Stars. You'll love this, Mike. Pearl Jam update. New album does, in fact, kick a little butt. Thanks for the recommendation. How's that?
I love it. And I hope he played it loud.
Okay. Todd said oil in 6. Okay. Henry said, how's everybody doing? Henry, both Mike and I are really, really looking forward to this. Like, I legitimately, not that I don't enjoy my time speaking with all of you and speaking to my pal Mike. I can't wait to be done with this nonsense and go watch the game. How's that? Like, legitimately. David bringing up a point that I was going to bring at you. Florida pounded Carolina. Unreal. I'm taking Carolina still. Mike, last night was one of those games, okay? Let's play a game of pretend. Life happens for all of us, right? Sometimes, you got, for example, you got a golf league. Maybe you're going to watch your son play, whatever the case may be, and you don't get a chance to watch a game. If you didn't get a chance to watch the game last night, maybe we're the stat guy and just looking at stats, you did not get the full picture of that game. Florida was absolutely, positively in control. It was varsity versus junior varsity. Honestly, if that's the punch that Carolina has, they're going to get their ass swept. Mike, I'm serious when I say that. I'm not trying to be that guy and try to say the big bold take or anything like that. They are going to get their ass swept, which wouldn't exactly be new to the Hurricanes because that's been their fate in the Eastern Conference Finals a few times in the last 15 years.
Well, absolutely. I think that is. I don't think I'm making this up. That I think that's like their 8th straight Game 1 loss, and I believe their 9th straight conference finals loss.
It is,
which is just not good. And here's the thing: watching that game, Carolina had moments that game could have went either way. A turnover here, a power play here. I thought Carolina carried the puck and possessed the puck well when they were in Florida zone. And you listen to the press conference, Maurice was not happy with his team's play after a 5-2 win. He wasn't happy and said that he had to fix some things. I'm going to think it's going to be in the defensive zone. If Carolina can just move a little bit more in the offensive zone and cause traffic in front of Bobrovsky, I think that's what they need. That they're not that far off.
Can I throw this out there, though? And this is why I always apologize when I bring this up, like when we were just talking about Ottinger v. Skinner. Yep. If Carolina has any chance of winning this series, Freddie's going to have to be a stud. Period. End of story. And listen, give the guy full marks. I thought, especially in that Washington series, he was the guy, okay? All that. Mike, I don't think he's the guy that's capable of doing it. I just don't.
And the unfortunate thing about it is, even if he plays above his head, like a little bit to be an average type goalie, a good goalie, he is up against the man right now. Right. Bobber is playing like playoff Bob last year when me and you started talking about Bob's going to go Bob. We waited for it. We thought we saw it, and he never did. And they end up Stanley Cup champions. But if we could go just a little further, because I know we're going to get to Maple Leaf, we're going to have to. Another thing, so they have to watch McDavid. They have to watch Florida, Sean. And I just couldn't help but notice, if you took the jersey, the numbers off the jerseys, the name off the back of the jerseys, and blacked out the faces, you would not know forward number 1 from forward number 12 on that team. 100%. They go out every shift and they play the same game.
Yep.
That's it. They don't alter from that. They don't go a different way. They don't go, I'm going to go Mr. Offense. I'm going to dangle. They all do the same thing. Boom, boom, boom. And again, when we get to this, that's something they got to take. You just got to love that. That is unbelievable. They're made to be champions.
Mike said Dallas in 6. Mike Brown said, I'll take Dallas, better goaltending. That was the one thing that I can't. Skinner is going to have to be at his finest. And I give the guy full marks for saving himself 2 years in a row. I with as well as Ottinger's playing, I would be worried. He said another year without a cup for our neighbors to the north. Don't worry. The Habs they'll get one. Don't worry. 2 years. How's that, Mike? Is that?
I like it. You know I like it. You know I'm turning Slappy here. I might be stealing Sebastiano's Habs gear. Like, I really like. I think that's going to be a real fun team to watch. It's
welcome. You're right into my bosom. You can come right into my bosom, my ample bosom.
You know, Sean, I don't know about you. We've heard a couple things in here, obviously, about goaltending. We've spoke about goaltending. And I asked the question in the beginning, is Ottinger him? Has he made that? He has to win this series before I'm giving him any credit over even Skinner. He totally has
agree.
to.
Totally agree. No, I'm serious. And here's the difference, Mike. Here's the difference. Skinner showed that he's already can do it. I mean, he defied everybody's logic and reasoning last year, saved their bacon. At times, let's be honest, I can't believe I'm saying these words, but I mean them. At times, he was their best player. I mean, he really, truly was. When everything battened down the hatches and all that stuff, and goals are so hard to come by, Skinner had to make big stops and got them back in that finals and everything. So I'm with you. As crazy as it sounds, he has to do what Skinner. I can't believe I'm talking about Skinner like this. Like, what the fuck is going on? I'm sorry. Pardon my language, but it's like, are we having real conversations about that bum?
No, and see, here's the thing. When it gets down to it, Sean, and I think you're going to agree with me here, if there were two goalies left and we had to choose one to be our goalie, Ottinger or Skinner, we're taking Ottinger, okay?
Right.
But right now, when we're watching this, what I just said about Florida, every guy going out there playing the same game, having the same game plan and playing it out, Edmonton is doing that. Go check out their stats and their scoring logs right now. Everybody's playing that game, and they're not having that pressure on their back six forwards because McDavid's line's going to give up 3 goals, so they can't give up anything. They got to play tight. McDavid and those guys are playing defense. That's what Skinner needs. I don't see that out of Dallas. I keep saying I'm very interested to see this game. The defensive zone, what is Dallas going to do with that speed and pressure coming from Edmonton?
All right, we're going to do Requiem for the Leafs in just a few minutes. That should be fun. But speaking of Oiler fans, are you ready to take charge of your financial future? Well, if you are, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group. Now, why am I mentioning Oiler fans? Because the guy on the right, Jeff Husak, loves him some Oilers. The 06 finals, he found his way over my house a few nights, and we watched a few games during the 06 finals when it was the Canes and the Oilers. That other guy, Mike Husak, he doesn't care. Love you, Mike. These are two brothers that are located in downtown Northville, and they've been doing this for a long time. The thing that sets them apart is they understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. That is not a one-size-fit-all fit at all. They offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, maybe you're saving for retirement. You're getting ready to sell a company. You're already in retirement. These are guys that can guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients through all stages of life, and they have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one. If you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. Not only my friends, but like the Hair Club for Men, I'm also a client at 248-773-8574, or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Todd, while we have a second, let me tell you about Lindsay Broadwell as well, because I have a feeling Mike and I are going to be long-winded. When it's time to get yourself a house, you're buying, you're selling, oftentimes it's both, you need to contact the right agent. There she is, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. And when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. You got to contact a pro. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Let me try to catch up. Oh, our buddy Jimmy Young. Best of luck to you, Jimmy. Jimmy, I know. Well, Mike, I'll tell you off the air. I don't know if Jimmy wants his business known, but Mike is in Green Bay. He said, I have Florida and Dallas. Oh, my buddy John in Windsor. Please, Sean, the country needs a great final. We've been through so much this week. We'll have Requiem for Maple Leaf in a minute. We will. Austin said, I said Dallas, Carolina before the season with the Stars winning it, so I'll stick with that so people think I'm smart. I'm such an idiot, Austin. Mike, you may or may not remember this. I had Dallas in Florida before the season started, and then I chickened out when the playoffs started because I thought they were both too beat up, and I think that's who it's going to be, so whatever. My buddy Flea, the resident Washington Capitol fan, he has Dallas. Ray, Carolina has lost 13 straight Eastern Finals games. We brought that up earlier. It is unbelievable. I mean, really. And like Mike, I've said this 100 times. This goes back to when Coach Peters was there, and I did broadcast there, okay? They've been looking for that goaltender. I mean, go down the list of goaltenders that they've tried. They have never been able to get it right. You know, they thought maybe we can ring one more magical run at a Cam Ward. It wasn't meant to be. It was Eddie Locke for a while. They've tried many, many guys. They still have been kind of a fish out of water in that. Mike said, Shawnee B, is it too early to rip the Canes? Mike, I do not think so. I don't. If last night was any indicator of what that series is going to be, they're going to get their butts whooped. That's how thorough I thought last night was.
Can I say that I agree with you, but I just think the Canes are right there because I did like parts of the game. I think they matched them physically. I thought they possessed the puck well. I thought they ended up giving up a couple power play goals. I thought their PK was good. They've got to get in front of Bob like they did. Freddie Anderson didn't see 3 of those goals. I mean, they got the traffic. They need traffic in front of them.
Mike asked a question. Mike Iavasile, I'm going to let you answer this. Sean, would Habs man want Marner in Montreal? Sean will answer it. No. But I'm serious. I mean, he's a fine player. Don't get me wrong. I think with a young team that already has, you have your 1C, you have your budding star. I'm not ready to call him quote unquote great yet in Cole Caulfield. I'm not ready to call Demidov great. I have no problem saying that Lane Hudson is awesome. I have no problem saying that. And that's probably going to be your superstar before Demidov gets there. I don't think that Mitch Marner is a need for a team like Montreal. Mike, would you agree with me?
100%. I would just ask, what has he done outside of the regular season? 106 points this year that attracts you to the price you're going to have to pay for him? He may get there at some point in his career. That evolution has to happen. I was talking about McDavid did it. We're really seeing it this year. Marner's got to do it. Marner's got to accept it. But when I've got a guy that has not a bead of sweat on him, turn to his bench and tell his team to wake the F up, Sean, I sent you that. That is priceless, and that's exactly why you don't want that guy on your team.
That is one of the most ironic and delusional moments that I've seen in a lot. This is the same guy that was having a meltdown in a Game 7 last year where Austin Matthews literally had to turn to him and say to the effect, shut the bleep up. You can't make that stuff up. Now, what's funny about this, I know our buddy Justin from Woodward Sports, I believe Seb partied with him at Western, if I'm not mistaken, Mike. So you can ask Seb about him. Justin's a great kid. I made the crack to him the other day. I said, Mitch Marner would be perfect in Detroit. They need a star. And, we've talked about it a lot of times, and I think some of the slappies kind of agree with me. Detroit doesn't have a star right now. And I said he would be perfect in Detroit because he's a star in the regular season, and you don't have to worry about the playoffs, so you don't have to worry about him disappearing. And he was like, yeah. Oh.
I was waiting for that.
Funny. That's what he, like, Mike, I'm not joking. He was just kind of like, he goes, yeah. Like I said, he's perfect in Detroit because you don't have to worry about him disappearing in the playoff because you're not going to make it, right?
That was so good.
Jokes. Yeah. Whatever. We'll see. I want to get your thoughts on the Leaf in a second. Boy, people are really chiming in today. Much love. Nuge, who knows our buddy Nuge, who knows a little something about goalies. Bob is so calm in the net, rarely gets rattled. Panthers over Canes. Isn't it funny? Now, let's call a timeout just for just a second, okay? You pontificated about Bob. I pontificated about Bob. Tom Nugent, who knows just a little something about goalies, pontificated about Bob. You want to talk about switching in narrative, okay? And I use this example all the time. Mike, growing up, John Elway was literally the punchline for a loser, for a gag artist. Go back and watch like old Simpsons episodes. My kids went through this phase a couple of years ago where they just, from season 1, they just rifled through the Simpsons, right? I can't tell you how many episodes there was some joke about John Elway or the Broncos. And then he won a Super Bowl. And then he won another one. And he's looked at completely different. Okay. Which Bob is going to show up has been commonplace for what? A decade? I mean, this has been a joke amongst hockey nerds and everything. And here we are pontificating about how calm he is and what a steadying presence he is for Florida. What a weird world we live in, where not only do we do that, but we talk about how clutch Stu Skinner is.
Yeah, but that is the beauty of the NHL playoffs and the Stanley Cup, because I say it all the time. It is very rare. It happens, and I know you'll bring it up. It happens where that guy just comes in and it's done. Stanley Cup, he's the man. He is him. It happens. It is rare. Most of the times it takes this evolution of this, like, hey, he can't do it. He's not going to be able to do it. They learn to play the game. They learn to play within the playoffs.
Geez, Sean, Mike, Ghost looks like a good D-man. Maybe Steve should try to get guys like that into the wing system. Oh, wait for that.
No, I got it. Sean, I got to cut you off right there. I was hoping someone would bring that up, and I want your opinion on this. Okay. I respect your opinion on this. Ghost looks good on a built team that's built for the Stanley Cup. He was an absolute dog in Detroit, and you can get him and you can pay him to play on just the power play, just like Kane doesn't play both ways. It's not going to happen. This is purely because of the team he's on. Sean, you.
It's a fantastic defense core, an underrated defense core. Mike, I remember when I went down there and called different games over the course of a couple seasons, I probably said this to you. I don't remember definitively, but I told people that defense core is sick and incredibly underrated. And that was one thing that the coaching staff, including my buddy Mike Bellucci, like, we're telling anybody, like, how good that defense core is. So yes, but at the same time, I think part of the issue with the Red Wings for a long time, and you and I have talked about this in the past, is asking somebody to be something that they aren't. And so maybe it goes both ways. Does that make sense, Mike?
I agree.
Florida reminds me of those Wings teams from 07, 09 when they were winning. Tough, got goaltending when they needed. They got you to play its game. The puck possession Red Wings with Chris Osgood changing his style and becoming a butterfly goaltender.
Absolutely.
Pretty. You know, I say this all the time, and Mike, but just excuse me for just a second. I'll never forget when the Ducks bullied the Wings in the 07 Western Conference Finals. And they bullied them. They did. That Ducks team was kind of a throwback, and Berkey put together, a bunch of grit and all that stuff. And I will never forget what Mike Babcock's message was going into the next season. Toughness is a choice. Toughness is a choice. And I'm not saying that Mike Iavasile is going to go out there and drop the gloves. Okay. I'm not saying it, but you can play tough. You can do all the tough things. That doesn't mean that you're going to go out there and say, who wants to go or anything like that. But toughness is a choice. I don't like quoting Mike Babcock very often, but I loved that quote in particular, Mike. I really did.
Yeah, and I think that toughness you're talking about is what it takes to win the Stanley Cup, and you're seeing it. You saw it in the Florida-Carolina game last night, and you're going to see it in every game this series.
Give me the Edmonton depth. It's going to be pretty hard to argue with that. Mark, I'm going to say it again. Their depth, their speed against Dallas depth. This is honest to goodness. This is not an overstatement. This is one of the most highly anticipated series. I could say this year for sure. Mike, we were in love with the Stanley Cup last year. And it was funny because I remember doing the shows here every night, and we were like, that would suck if this was a sweep. And then who knew that it was going to turn out the way that it did? But I think this is the most highly anticipated series of this playoff so far. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And that's in a playoff where I've had a ton of series that I keep talking about. Every time we get, I'm like, This right here is because it, like I said, that evolution of things. So, in a lot of times, Sean, and here I go betting. When I'm talking about betting, I look for that evolution, that story. What is the story that's being told in Dallas and Edmonton? Edmonton obviously getting there last year, getting all the way back to Game 7. Dallas coming so close. Who is going to be there? I mean, look at the coaches. I mean, the coaches too. I mean, they're highly respected. I can't wait to get upstairs and watch this. I'm going to crack a beer and watch this game.
Mike, spot on. Watching the Canes, it's hard to discern one player from the other because they play their system. Kudos to Brindamore. Would you guys like to see a similar system here in Detroit? Part of it is, don't forget, and this is not taking anything away from what you are saying and what Mike iterated earlier, they've got some pretty special players there. We talked about their defense. I think Mike, Sebastian Aho's a vastly underrated player. I really do. I think he's a vastly underrated player. But yeah, of course. I mean, when you can play a system like that, absolutely, positively.
Yeah, and I agree with you again. That I have said this 15,000 times today, the evolution Aho's is coming to during this playoff. He's really came out. He's really matured. He's really showed his worth. And people call it a system, Sean. You correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's a philosophy. I think it's a culture. I think this is what these teams are. You have to be that player to do that. Then there's a system within that they'll run. But the way these guys, all four of these teams play is really special.
I have to, Todd, can you put that picture up? I love that. Can you put that picture up? Look at that. And then, Todd, I'm sending you something that if you can play this for my friend Mike in just a second, that would be great. I just sent you a text. You remember what about Bob? I still can't believe that. Sergei Bobrovsky is like the gold standard. What planet do we live on? Austin said totally random, but have you guys been to my neck of the woods and seen a Port Huron Flags game? The Prowlers, the flags are gone, right? Help me out, right? Aren't the flags gone? The Prowlers from the Federal League play there. I've not seen them up there. I saw them at Big Boy Arena. I did see them at Big Boy Arena. But correct me if I'm wrong, Austin. Sean, Mike, if Marner needs $15 million, would you rather have Sam Bennett or Matthew Nyes for the same price? Nyes, no problem. Ebling asked me today, who would you rather have at this point in time, Dylan Larkin or Nyes? And I didn't hesitate. I said Nyes. Didn't Mike? It didn't even take me a second to get. He's 22 years old. There's still a ceiling there. Didn't hesitate me to say that. No way, no how. I really, really like Matthew Nyes.
Absolutely. I keep saying it every time we've been on the last couple of weeks. He's going to get off. They have to sign him now before he gets offer sheeted. The good news is he said he's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah,
he loves this place, and he did not rule out a bridge. Oh, if they can bridge him and get rid of those dogs, what they could bring in, it could be something special.
You know what's interesting about that too is these American kids falling in love with the Canadian city in which they play. Isn't that funny? The other American kid, Caulfield, loves Montreal. You know, it's amazing. Mike, okay, Todd, can you put that up?
No, Maple Leaf. It can't be happening again. No way. It can't happen. Not up 3-0. No way it happen again. No, Maple Leaf. I refuse to believe.
The key to that one is I dropped the I refuse to believe. Come on. Don't I get any credit for that? Well, I told him about that. That's for sure. So.
That is excellent. Now, was it Marchand that dropped that in a presser?
Yes. Can Rantanen outplay McDavid and Draisaitl, or is the two-man punch too much? Edmonton depth will show up. I hate to be a simpleton. I like Ottinger over Skinner, and I can give Skinner a tip of the cap at the same time. But if Skinner plays just underneath Ottinger, Edmonton wins the series. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's what we would say. Like for Rantanen, the only thing I think that's going to really catch up with Dallas and Rantanen is going to be that speed, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to the Lumberjacks taking home the Clark Cup. Outstanding. I'm going to have my eye on the AHL playoffs tonight, as a matter of fact. Nothing lasts forever in the cold November rain. Henry, it does feel like November out there. My gosh. Everyone wants Marner in Detroit. Matthews made him look like a $15 million guy. He's a setup man, not a 30, 40 goal scorer. Detroit doesn't have a Matthews type to go with Marner. You know what Red Wing fans are going to say? They're immediately going to say DeBrincat, and I'm going to laugh at that comparison. Alex DeBrincat, Austin Matthews. And I like Alex. I like Alex. Don't get me wrong, but that's comparing apples to bulldozers. I mean, we're not even in the same region with something like that, you know?
No.
Blash hired by Chicago. I actually sent him a text. I hope he gets back to me. I've said this before. I always like Jeff. I got along wonderfully with Jeff. I'm happy for Jeff. It's going to be tough in Chicago. At least he's got some pieces there that he didn't have while he was in Detroit. He didn't have a snowball's chance in hell in Detroit. He didn't have a snowball's chance in hell. I like Jeff. I'm always going to root for Jeff, except when he plays my team. But I'm good for Blash. I mean that. Jeff, I hope you see this, and you don't have to text me back. But no, seriously, Mike, I had to drop him a text and say, congrats, man.
Yeah, I know you always spoke highly of him from the moment he was hired in Detroit. All throughout it, you had good things to see, and if you follow that rumor mill, there's a lot of rumors coming out that it might be Blashill that's coaching Marner next.
Wouldn't that be something? Yeah. I saw this one, Ray. TSN said Montreal could go after Tavares to give them a number 2 center. I like how you said that, Ray. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate, Ray, you know what we're talking about. That's some respect for their now undeniable number 1 center. I saw that as well. Mike, I'm going to say the same thing with all due respect. A guy that's going to be 35 in September, I'll take a pass unless you're giving me one particular center. You know it, and I know it.
Yeah, we know who that is. Now, to take a chance on someone like Tavares, I think you have to be a little bit closer than Montreal is. I've really loved it. I think they got to be a little bit closer. You're going to have to get a good deal on it. And you're gonna, for it to all matter, you got to get the Tavares that had 2 good shifts the entire series when they finally made it 3-1 in Game 7. Other than that, the guy was a dog, and I wouldn't want him.
Freddie always plays well enough to lose, never wins you anything. Marner is going to Utah, far away from media people as possible. Does SLC even have journalists? Look what Drew said. I am dying. Are you reading that? Verona, Mantha, Sprong, Smith, Tatar, Nyquist, Fisher, blah, 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 blah. Dear Steve, get the band back together. It's the Holland way.
It's the Holland way.
Can you believe it's been since the 08 and 09 since we've had a rematch in the finals? If we get it this year, Edmonton will prevail. McDavid, Draisaitl seem to have more in the tank because of its depth this year. That's pretty good. Let's see. Are you guys going to be on tomorrow? No, we're not going to be on tomorrow. Don't bring up those Ducks teams, man. Andreas Lilia name still gives me PTSD. Okay. Can I tell you something, Mike? I think you know this. You know he lived at my old house, like walk across my street, and he was like right there, right? I think he has PTSD. To be honest with you. I really truly do. Corey Perry or Brad Marchand, who would you want on your team? Hate to play against. I've always been a fan of Corey Perry. This is even before he played in Montreal, because I saw what he could do in London. As much respect as I have for Corey Perry, I'll take Brad Marchand all day.
Agree.
Mike?
I agree. If we go all the way back, if you remember, Sean, back to the very first time I stepped on the airwaves with you during COVID, and we were talking about a hamburger. We made a basic hamburger, and we started talking about guys in the NHL. I had him in my top 5 at that time. Yeah. I think he's that good. He's lost a little. I'm not going to say he hasn't lost a little, but that's a guy that goes every summer and trains with Crosby and McKinnon. Come on.
Austin, yeah, Prowlers now used to be the Flags. Tickets are $3 to $7 either way. They play at McMorran, right? Is that where they play? I think it's McMorran Arena up there. Marner will re-sign with Toronto because Matthews makes him look like a $14-15 million player. Without Matthews, he will play like an $8 million player. He's not a 40-goal scorer to get that amount. Detroit fans will be all over him like Larkin if he signs with Mike. Matt Mandarino. Hi, Matt. How are you, buddy? Nice to see you. Matt made that video, by the way. Can you put that video up again, Todd? I like making my friend Mike laugh. It's just, and I didn't know that he had a fetish. He's got a baby fetish. Okay, he does. There, I said it. All right, so
Maple Leaf. It can't be happening again. No way. It can't happen. Not up 3-0. No way it happened again. No, Maple Leaf. I refuse to believe.
Sean,
it's so fucking stupid.
I am so addicted to those baby voiceovers. It's not. I watched them all. They got all the dumb movie lines from like Slapshot. It is unbelievable.
Yeah. He's good with the young players. Blash, yeah. CBC said Detroit finally broke through when they got Shanahan. Florida got Kachuk. Who can that player be for Detroit and Toronto? Detroit isn't in that conversation right now. I know people don't want to hear it. They're not. I don't think there's any breakthrough yet. You know, I don't. Ray, you know this. How on earth could you justify bringing the band back together and making, as people are apt to say, let's run it back one more time? How on earth could you do that right now? You can't justify that, Mike. You can't. If they do that, I would be shocked. I don't know how. It isn't just failing in the playoff. It always seems to be epic flaming out. And Mike, as you know, I always stuck up for Willie Nylander in particular. I thought it was unfair to group him in with those other three. Well, guess what? He got infected too. Where the heck was Willie Nylander? Wait, I'm serious. Where the heck was Willie? Like it affected the other three. All right. And Willie seemed to be, you know, maybe he had herd immunity or whatever, okay? He ended up getting it too. When you lose the way they do and you have your highest paid players absolutely, positively disappearing, okay? You can't, there is no let's run it back one more time. You have to cut the cord. And I'm not saying blow it up. Obviously, you're going to keep Austin Matthews. There's no doubt about that, okay? But, Mike, at this point in time, why on earth would you bring Tavares back? Why would you tell Mitch Marner, hey, Mitch, I know you're probably going to get $14-15 million contracts. We're not doing that. We'd love to have you, Toronto boy, and all that stuff, but there's no way in Hades we're giving you $14-15 million. And, Ray, I'm going to be intrigued to hear what your take is on that. Why would you want to run it back? Why would you want to run it back?
And top of that, Sean, you know who can carry their bags on the way out is Riley. He was awful.
Good call.
And I'll tell you a little bit of my feeling of what happened to Nylander. You know, we both have some Nylander love. That guy still had 15,000 breakaways in there. Is that he was on a line with Tavares. I mean, they couldn't get him on a line. They did not adjust themselves to the guys that were playing, and he got stuck in the middle of it.
What are you grilling this weekend? So I have my card game coming up. So like I'm going to be off until like Monday night. But I know, Mike, this will come as a shock to you. I know I'm doing Durocs one day, and then I'm doing beef short ribs the next day. And then I know on Memorial Day, a very small gathering, I am doing smash burgers, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do sausage or just go the traditional dog route. I got another thing that you and I have to try, by the way. It's all beef smoked sausage. I didn't tell you about that, but I got all beef smoked sausages. So I'm a little intrigued to try that. But Eric, to answer your question, that's what I'm doing. Mike, have you looked far enough ahead for that?
I have not, but I know I'm going to be thawing out some Durocs real soon. I'll be giving my lovely wife the option the next day, and she's going to be going short ribs, not to copy you. Monday, I'm always usually at my brother-in-law's. Back to those smoked sausage. You have my attention because I know you're going to bring like the trio of mustard out too, which I think a charred smoked beef sausage with some mustard sounds absolutely fantastic. My mouth is watering right now.
Does Hab Baby love the watering holes in Old Montreal, Vous Montreal? Mike, when I took you to Montreal, I don't think we went to Vous Montreal. Did we? Like the cobblestone roads? I think no, we didn't go there. Austin said, did you have an affair in Quebec?
Bonjour.
Keep driving. I can't believe you just said that. You don't even know what you said, Austin, but that's funny. Keep driving. Mike, you know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Shanahan is going to the Islanders to be president. Tavares is gone. I haven't seen that officially yet, right? They asked for permission. Could you imagine Brendan Shanahan and Patrick Waugh working together, Mike? Remember when Shanahan went airborne? Wouldn't that be funny? I haven't heard you guys mention it. I know people in the business. Sucks FanDuel laid off Trevor Thompson. He really grew on me over the years. I know I mentioned it. I think when I was on with Shep, one of the shows. I love Trevor. I've done things with Trevor. Trevor is a fan of the same team that I'm a fan of. He might get mad at me for saying that, but there I said it. Trevor, Austin, you might remember the radio show I did way back when, Ice Time. Trevor co-hosted with me. Sadly, I never got a chance to do him the few times I did things, or work with him the few times that I did things at FanDuel. But Trevor is all class, and I wouldn't worry about Trevor one iota. Trevor is so talented and such a good guy. Trevor could get a gig wherever he wants. I hope it's in this town. I'm a big fan of his wife as well. Shout out to both Trevor and Dana, but huge fan. I can't say enough positive things about Trevor. And Mike is lifetime hockey fans. You can tell when a guy is doing a job, and you can tell when he's a hockey fan. Trevor speaks our language. Trevor speaks our language, and that's another reason to love him.
Oh yeah, you introduced me when we were at the Habs Wings game last year, and you could just see it just from that short conversation we had, because I believe he was working and had to get somewhere. But in that short period of time, you could tell he knew it.
Matthew said he got hurt in training camp and played all year hurt. He said Tavares is gone. You can't bring Tavares back. You can't. No, he's going to be 35 in September. John said, will Shanahan get broomed after 10 years? Would you let him go? Yes. Yes. I know what people feel about Brendan Shanahan, but my gosh, this is 10 years with the amount of talent that they had. I don't know how you could justify bringing him back. I just don't.
So here's the thing. Someone reached out to me to say, he's got to be gone, right? And I said, he's lasted this long. This isn't this year. This isn't a new thing. He lasted through some time, Sean. So should he be? Yes. Do I expect him to be? Yes. Could he survive? He survived every other time. I mean, yeah. I don't know how.
I can't believe we've gone this long, and there's still so many things to talk about. It's unbelievable, Mike. It really is. How close are they to a Stanley Cup? Seriously. How close is Maple Leaf to a Stanley Cup? I'm not trying to be funny here. Is this just a nip and a tuck here when you have a player the caliber of Matthews and you and I both like Nyes? How close are they?
They're closer than they are further. Is that a good answer? No. I think that we seen this year's free agent list and we weren't impressed with it. So how are they going to get these guys in to replace a Marner, to replace Tavares? They can sign some character guys. I like what's there when you cut away the fat, Sean. I really do. And I hope Berube doesn't fall to the side too. I've read some stuff on that. I hope he stays. I like what's there. Stolar's staying healthy. I think they have their goalie. I don't think they're that far. I just don't know if you can get enough in to say next year.
Yeah.
But they're going to be good next year.
Our buddy Mike Cusack from the Wealth Advantage Group said his poor cardiologist. I have, that heart test. I had a 0 on my heart test. My doctor was doing backflips. And so you know how I celebrated? I just took a can of sodium and drank it like a soda. Just a whole thing just poured sodium all over myself. All About Catering, LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers. Did I mention graduations? It's graduation season. Are you looking for somebody? Why don't you use these guys? We did. That's why I like talking about things that are personal to me. People that I actually use. Yes, Rick and his staff. We use them. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. Do not sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see the menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. That's 586-731-1398. Maybe you're a lazy ass and you don't want to do it on Memorial Day. Call All About Catering. All right? Hopefully I can get a drink this weekend. Best of luck to you, Eric. Give Nyes the money meant for Tavares. Yep, absolutely. Hellfire is going to be there soon. I still want to try it. Mike, you don't even want to try it. You don't like, what if I have a big Hellfire sausage, okay? And I say, I just cut off one little piece and I just go, you won't even try it.
I have worked.
And then try it?
Possibly. I've worked so hard getting my stomach where it's at right now and getting it straight.
That's a good point. I'm not going to give peer pressure to you then.
Right.
You want it. All the cool kids are doing it.
And the way he described that guy's reaction when he ate it, that he knew. Right. He said he was ruined.
Tage Thompson is on another level. Watching him in the Worlds, does he stay in Buffalo much longer, or does he get sick of having guys around him going bye-bye? I'm going to say it again. There must be something in the water there, because this has been years that they've had really good pieces, and they still do. They still have really good pieces in the system. It's insane.
I think what you're seeing is what you see with a lot of teams, organizations, no matter what sport it is. Have they had the coach? Have they had the right coach to get in there to put it all together? Because we look at it, me and you have expected Buffalo to do something the last couple of years, and it's nothing. It's really weird.
That's part of what ails Toronto, though, if we can go back to them. And I'm not being funny here. And Toronto's also a cautionary tale for teams like Ottawa and Montreal. When you think it's going like this, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the Toronto Maple Leafs, okay? And that's part of the same thing that ails Detroit and the same thing that ails Buffalo kind of gives Toronto some fits, okay? There are two teams in a general proximity that really look to be good sooner rather than later. And that's where I wonder where Maple Leaf is in the pecking order. And I'm serious. I mean, surely right now better than Montreal and Toronto. Or Montreal and Ottawa. No doubt about that. Please don't. But how soon? You know what I mean? That's going to be intriguing. David said, got some 3-day marinated bone-in pork thick chops about to cook in, listen to this, Mike, onions, cherry red pepper, Hungarian wax pepper, and butter. Oh, baby.
That sounds great.
Memorial Cup opens Friday night with Medicine Hat and Gavin McKenna taking on Rimouski. Saturday has London meeting Moncton. London's a team to beat. I don't care what anybody says. Did you ever do a steak with peaches glazed on it, Mike? Never tried that.
No.
With the cap going up, will it help guys get bigger deals than they deserve? Yes. Totally. No doubt. In all seriousness, if I'm a betting man, I think Marner goes to Pittsburgh because I don't think Dubas is smart and they are in denial about starting their rebuild. They're going to try and make one more run. Yeah, well, why don't you get Marner and then cast Crosby out to Montreal, okay? You watching the Memorial Cup this weekend? Absolutely. I love it. Hunter said he'll bring it. All right, we got to get out of here. One more, right, Todd? We have one more, don't we? Another service that I can personalize. Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called legacy partners like my family to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents, and they provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right question to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and help save you some money at the same time. They did it for my family. They will do it for you. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're also probably paying too much. What are you waiting for? Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment. Guys, honestly, did it for my family. They'll do it for you and your family. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. As always, great show. Enjoy hockey and delicious meats. Have a safe holiday. Austin, appreciate you. Mike has had prior run-ins with wieners that gave him a burning sensation.
All rumors,
100%. If I'm Toronto, I'm trading Wall, Robertson, a first and Robertson for Thompson. Washington had the same issue. Toronto is going through generational scoring in Ovi like we have with Matthews. What got Washington over the hump? Picking a Plymouth Whaler. Come on, Ray. You know that. Pretty good goaltending as well. Jim Irsay died? Oh, no kidding. Really? No kidding. Wow. That sucks. Memorial games overlap the Stanley Cup games, so I will be giving that remote a workout, flipping back and forth. We wanted to get done early tonight to go watch this game. I'm going to reiterate. I shit you not. This is my most highly, the Habs series doesn't count. Obviously, I'm really looking forward to this. And I love series like this where, I don't have a rooting interest. Mike, I wish it was closer to the end of the school year so you could come over and we could eat like pigs. But soon enough, my friend, soon enough.
Very soon, son. Very soon, and I can't wait.
All right. Hey, I know I'll talk to you, but happy Memorial Day to you. Todd, we'll reconvene Monday night. Is that cool? Because I'm Professor Baligian. Thank you guys for checking us out. We'll be back next week. I know. The fuck. We'll check you guys out next week. We'll see you. Bye.
What the Puck with Shayne Baligian. Executive produced by Shayne Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Shayne? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.